Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word this morning. It's Monday morning, the start of a new week here in this month of September. So, as always, I am glad you've joined me for our time together, carving out time to be with me, and bringing your greetings as we gather continually for this daily word. It's a beautiful Monday morning, and so we begin again our journey together. Today is daily word number 779 in this rather long journey that we share together. And of course, today is a day of remembrance. Lots of social media posts and conversations and news about remembering 9/11. And we're going to talk about that a little bit in our daily word as it pertains to this scripture. But like all of you, I remember where I was on that day. I was in my office actually at Greenview United Church of Christ that day. I remember that. And we didn't have very good TV reception there, way out in the country, but we saw enough of it. And I remember we had dinner with some friends that night and just to talk about what went on. And of course, we had a special worship service a day or so later at Greenview with a full church. And we're going to talk about that. But our scripture for this morning, when I said what I was going to do, I only included one verse, but I think I'm going to include two verses today from John 13, verses 34 and 35. And so this is in the upper room. This is the end of Jesus' life. It's in the upper room. Jesus has sent them there. They've shared in the Last Supper. Jesus tells Judas to go what you have to do, what you have to do. And then at the end, he offers them a new commandment. Now, if you were in worship yesterday or you watched here on Facebook Live worship yesterday or on the website, you heard me allude to this a bit yesterday about this particular text. But Jesus gives them this new commandment. It's a mandate. It's why we call it Maundy Thursday for us in our tradition. We hear these words: I give you a new commandment, that you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you should also love one another. By this, everyone will know you are my disciples if you have love for one another. So it's interesting that this new commandment kind of takes shape in this conversation that Jesus is having with his disciples. We've talked about the greatest commandment: love God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. We hear that, and that embodies who I think we ought to be and who God really calls us to be. But then Jesus, for the disciples and for us, but for the disciples especially in this text, wanted them to have something to hold on to, something concrete. And that was each other, and that was their love for each other. And so he says, look, I give you this new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You should love one another. Now, we know of Jesus' great love for them, right? On and on and on, we hear it in all the conversations and all the stories and in all the teachings of Jesus' great love for them. Because he says, look, it's because of this love that people will know that you're my disciples. Not by the fancy words you say, not by the great sermons you could preach, not by the songs you could sing, but because you love one another. And that'll stand out, and people will recognize it. Jesus said they'll know. Not if you control all the political power, not if you enforce some kind of religious legalism, not if you exclude certain people or vote certain people out, as churches are prone to do these days. He said, if you love one another, you'll know, they'll know that you're my disciples. And so today we remember, we commemorate, if you will, this 9/11 holiday. And it brings lots of emotions for all kinds of people. It's hard to believe that it's been that long ago, that much time has passed. For me, my kids are grown. They weren't grown 22 years ago. Interestingly enough, of course, Dustin was 10 when all of that happened. We think about the impact of that day on our society. And it's true that, when that happened, there was this renewed sense of pride in our country, and we all became, well, I didn't, because that's not who I am, but we became flag wavers, and we wanted to hold each other up, all for good things. I remember a day or so later, we held special worship at Greenview. It might have been Thursday night. It wasn't Wednesday. I think it might have been Thursday. I was the pastor there, and we held a special worship. And, there were so many people there. We filled the church to the rafters. People were upstairs. And we sang songs, and we lifted our voices. And I remember the sermon I gave, and the conversation around what this was going to mean for us. And it's interesting that today, some people are posting the whole thing, I miss 9/12. So 9/12, stores ran out of flags to sell. People say that people were Americans before they were, anything else, Republican, Democrat, Christian, Jewish, upper, lower class. We hugged each other. This person said we hugged people without caring if they ate at Chick-fil-A or wore Nikes. And maybe for 9/12, that was true. I contend, and I've said to people, and I get a lot of pushback, but I'm okay with that. I can push back as well. But what about 9/13 or 9/14 or 9/15 when we all forgot? When we forgot about this love thing, when we forgot what this sense of pride, civic pride, national pride meant for us. When we were indeed hugging each other and being nice to strangers and doing all that we were doing, what about the uptick in church attendance that failed really quickly? What about all of that? Well, I think it comes down for us, these years later, it comes down to us to this text. If we really, really, really care about it and want to honor it and think about what this day means and all of that, I think, as I said yesterday, from the Romans text that we shared yesterday, owe no one anything except to love them. It comes down to that. Whether it's the anniversary of 9/11, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, whatever it is, or just our own day, our own holiday, anniversary or birthday or whatever it is. I think the challenge that we're called to, and I'd love to talk to with anybody about this, what we're really called to is what Jesus mandates the disciples to be about. Loving each other. Now, what Jesus says is that my command is that you should love each other. Okay, great. We think about what that means, but then Jesus, he characterizes it. He wraps it up. He puts it in a framework that's a lot more difficult, I think. Jesus says, just as I have loved you, you should love one another. But then he says this, by this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. It's easy to love. We all love each other. It's easy. But Jesus says the evidence of that love, the evidence should be so strong that people look at us and say, disciple, follower of Jesus, lover of God. That's different. It raises the bar. It raises the level of expectations. And I think it's just what we're really called to in this life and in this conversation and in this journey that we continue on together. Jesus said, look, they're going to know you love, they're going to know you're my disciples, not because of your name, not because of the clothes you wear, like I said, not because of a sermon you can preach or a healing you can do or a song you can sing. They're going to know you're my disciples because they're going to look at you, and the love that you have for each other is going to be so powerful. It's going to emanate from the very core of your being. That's how they'll know. I wonder where we've missed all that in this knowing, and people knowing us by our love. And that's what we're really called to. And that's what kind of sticks with me on this day, on this anniversary day. It's good to remember. It's good to never forget, as people say. But then it's even better, I think, to take this to heart and to be witnesses that people would look at us because of our great love and know that we're disciples. So that's our word for today on this day. I hope it touches a chord with you. So I hope you know of God's love that surrounds you. Know of my love for you this day. And I will see you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.